Hello, witnesses. I'm not sure how long my magic can keep this portal open, but it is good to see you. How are you doing? Since the last time we met, so much has happened. I'm sure that you have so many questions, and there's not a whole lot of time to answer them. Um, we'll meet here regularly so that we can discuss what we've seen. I'm unable to see everything myself. There's just so much going on. That's why you're here. Hello. I'm so happy that you've chosen to help us. You didn't have to, and you did anyway. And that means a lot to all of us. So, I suppose we should start from the beginning. As you all know, I'm the Archivist. You've probably seen some of my messages. Unfortunately, up until now, I've been unable to break through to speak with you in person. It's been very difficult, as you can tell. There's been a lot of interference. There's something strange going on here. Strange powers at play that I'm not entirely sure of. There's a strange balance. Greetings. I'm not sure what's happening. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. If any of you have any thoughts on it, I would very much appreciate it. I've been studying quite a bit, pulling up tomes of knowledge from Candlekeep. I'm just not entirely sure what we're going through at this point. To see the forces of evil drawn so tightly, it was concerning. But there is hope, obviously. You, for one thing, probably the biggest hope that we have, next to the heroes, of course, and we'll get to that. But obviously, you, just amazing. Well, there's a lot that we can do to help the heroes of Valantia. Perhaps one of the biggest things, there's things that I can do here on my end, and there's things that you can do on yours. Perhaps with what you've seen, with what you know, we can combine our knowledge and we can help each other. I have powers here, but what I had said before about the balance, there's a strange thing happening here. I can't directly intervene. Not yet. I'm afraid that if I do, there's going to be a blowback of sorts, and anything that I do is going to, there'll be an opposite reaction of sorts that may make things worse. But perhaps there's a way, with your help, that we can do something. If you notice something, and think of a way that we can help, perhaps I can utilize some of my power, or call in some favors, and we can send some things to the heroes, or I can send help through visions or dreams. Perhaps Pellet can bring something to one of them. There are options, but at the moment, I would love to tell them to stop with the magic ale. There has been quite a bit of times now that I've wondered about destiny and fate. Uh, I don't know that these specific heroes are always the heroes that I would have chosen. Um, Pellet, Pellet's my familiar. Um, Pellet is a very curious little owl. Um, he's uh, he's my companion. I would like to send Chia a vision that she doesn't need a skin bag, preferably. Um, that's that's a bit distasteful, but to each their own, I suppose. Um, they are the heroes we deserve. I agree with that. Um, so the visions that I've had have been troubling. Uh, to be honest, frightening. We've seen some of it. At first, at first, I thought perhaps it was just nightmares. But I haven't had nightmares since I was young. Um, the visions that I saw initially, they mirrored that of what we saw in the beginning, uh, with the arcane explosions. I thought at first that what I had seen was just fantasy. But after seeing what I saw, after the heroes were transported to Valantia, and Baldur's Gate was, well, I know that it's not. The visions that I saw was of a nameless place, a city. I don't know where, but it was a bustling place, and I was in the midst of it. Um, I don't know what I was doing there. Dreams don't often have a purpose. Um, well, in in this city, I was in a marketplace, and moving through, um, I could hear the sounds of people haggling around me, the guards um, arguing, um, children playing, um, animals moving through the city, caravans, the clopping of their feet, creaking of the wagon wheels, the smell of the cities, the fresh baked breads. I swear to you, I swear to you, I was there. It was as if I was there. A small girl, she couldn't have been more than 10, ran into me, green bow in her hair, nearly knocked me over. She turned around and apologized, but it was fine. She turned and began to make her way into the crowd, and it wasn't but a few moments later that the ground began to shake, and I heard the sound of masonry breaking and timbers shattering, and all around me, people began to fall. And I looked around and I was trying to figure out the source of this, and the sky went dark. And it was it was terrible. I looked up in the sky. The sun had been blotted out, and all I saw was purple streaks of light. As around me, the ground began to erupt in arcane explosions, purple light. I saw people disintegrated before my eyes. I threw up an arcane ward and attempted to shield myself, a force barrier trying to grab those around me. I couldn't move. The the sounds of the people around me struggling and scrambling like rats on a sinking ship, desperately seeking salvation, but there was none. Eventually, they stopped. The sound stopped. It was as if a wave of darkness was beating against us. And when it was all over, I dropped my protections and I was alone. And the only thing left was rubble and that green bow. And that's when I always woke up. And like I said, I thought it was just a reoccurring nightmare. I thought it was just a fantasy. But something very similar happened in Baldur's Gate. And I cannot deny that perhaps there is truth to that. Perhaps that was not a nightmare, but some sort of a foretelling. And that these heroes have come to stop it. I am in Faerun currently. Yes, purple streaks like the one in the first episode. Yes. I don't know what they are. I know they're of arcane origin. I don't exactly know what it is that they do. I know that they appear and drag things into Volantia. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know what they do. There's much that we don't know yet. Again, that's why you're here. I need all of the help that I can get. I am only one person, and you are many. We depend on your eyes and ears. Your job here is so important. Your mission is so incredibly important. Thank you. So, has anybody seen anything at all that they don't understand? Does anybody have anything that they might have a question about? One of the things that I'm still grappling with is the Inquisition of Pelor. I don't, honestly, I've been watching them and I don't know that I fully trust them. And it makes me nervous that our heroes are so dependent on them at the moment. But it seems that they need to be. So for me, I guess it seems like a necessary risk, but it does worry me quite a bit. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. Perhaps it's me. I've been a bit jumpy as of late. Things have not been going the way that I hoped they would. It's been very difficult. But I do believe, hopefully, there will be a light at the end of the tunnel here. Um, the at least our heroes are starting to get along a little bit better, even if it's over some ale, some magical ale. Um, Speaking of magical ale, um, I'm not quite sure that uh, our 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 heroes should be so focused on their little brewery escapades between Gadu and Nelius. Um, I'm going to judge. I am definitely going to judge. I feel their hijinks with their drunken uh, revelry get a bit out of control. Um, I think with the Inquisition, they're so powerful, and when you have such a stranglehold on power in this region, and you have such a monopoly on magic and commerce, you can't help but be corrupt. And I feel that with that kind of power, corruption breeds, and I I just cannot trust it. I can't trust it. And perhaps it's an abundance of caution that leads me to that. But to me, it doesn't seem right. So I feel that there's an issue here that should be addressed. The Inquisition may have the best of intentions. There may be people within the Inquisition that are doing things for the right reasons, but I just feel that there is there is so much room for just absolute corruption. The stranglehold and power that they have is difficult to deny. I'm not sure about the connection between the Blackwoods and Orthax at the moment. I'm not really sure what the plan is. Um, I'm I'm involved. I'm involved for several reasons. Um, Obviously, because this is my home. Um, and that's number one. Um, but really, this is something that I've seen. This vision that I told you about is not my only vision. I've been having visions of this for quite some time. I have no idea why fate and destiny have chosen to put me where I am at this point. Why they've given me the the wherewithal to have these sorts of visions, but they have, and I felt like if they're going to give me this sort of ability to see things, then I have to utilize it. There must be a reason. It's something beyond my magic. It's something beyond the weave. It's something else entirely. It's not divine. I have no idea where it comes from, but it's undeniable. And I can't sit by and watch this world be destroyed. Uh, I can't. So here I am. Um, I assume you would do the same. You're here. Yeah. Yes. Yes. We will see Drax again. for sure. We will definitely see Drax again. I would love to meet up with the party in the future. But again, there has to be caution, great caution taken. It's of the utmost importance that we don't tip the scales too much. This balancing act has to be maintained. There has to be a neutrality of some sort, even though it may not make sense at the moment. It does. I don't know why, but it seems that if there's a if the scale tips in one direction, for some reason in the other it equalizes, and I don't know why. I'm not quite sure why this is happening. So it is a very difficult thing to do, to stand back and watch from the sidelines. It is very hard. But as I've said before, we all have our roles to play. As for that, what do you think is going to happen in the future with all of this? You've seen the army that's developing. You've seen the forces of evil that have gathered. You've seen their leaders. Yes, I think there's a chance of arranging hints. I don't think that's tipping the scale. I can speak to them. I can send them visions. I think it's important that they don't know who I am. So sending them visions, I think, is probably the best way. Perhaps I can send them some sort of items or something that they can find. But I can tip them off with visions and such. If you can help me decide what to tell them. Like I said, I can't see everything. I can notice some things, but you are so many more eyes, so many more minds than mine. Together we can be so much more effective than I can alone. Strahd was a bit of a surprise. So I had a vision as well early on of a mansion behind a wall of mist, and I kind of thought it to be possibly a dread plane, but I wasn't sure. I mean, mist can be anything, but it felt oppressive, as if there was a presence there, a presence of evil. But in the vision, there was an evil presence there, but it wasn't Strahd. It was a darkness, and the heroes were there. They were all there, and but I couldn't quite place it. It didn't make sense to me at the time. it was very jumbled. It was very difficult to really take in what was happening. Um, and when I woke in the morning, uh, it it was very fleeting, uh, like trying to catch water with your hands. Um, it- the the ideas, the main ideas were there, but the the details, the small details, they slipped through my fingers. And I tried to write it down, but faster than I could even begin, it was fading. So when Lord Strahd showed up, I wasn't terribly surprised, but it wasn't it wasn't a welcome sight for sure. Uh, they have definitely assembled some very evil individuals. Uh, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine what they're planning. Like, how are they not going to just tear themselves to pieces? We could possibly do that. We could send visions of clues to Drax's whereabouts. That's possible. I've got to figure out where. I know where he's at. I just don't know how to direct them there. Um, I'll think on this. Perhaps we can do something like that. That might work. Mm. Um, as for no, no, I don't think so. I don't think it seems like a lost cause. Uh, yeah, like I said before, they don't seem like the heroes that I would have chosen. Uh, they are interesting, to say the least. Um, I think interesting is the word. Yeah, I think interesting is the word. Um, for sure. Um, the barrel, the barrel was an interesting thing with the pixies and stuff. Uh, it was entertaining, but at the same time, I was not amused. I was not amused. Um, so yeah, uh, I keep finding myself just kind of wishing that they would take it a bit more seriously because my my home is hanging in the balance here. Um, but yes, I have faith and hope. I've seen them. I've seen them together, and although they've had issues in the past, and I've seen them struggle with them. You've seen them struggle with them. Um, they they've had these infights. They've had some serious infights, but they've come together too in difficult times. They've supported one another. They're growing together as a team. There's something important there, and it's not going to be long before they're unstoppable. I see that. At first, I was concerned when they first entered the Feywild and uh, they drugged Herbie. I was a bit concerned. That was concerning. Um, but like I said, I think they've grown a bit since then. Uh, I think that the trauma that they've gone through to this point, everyone has felt the sting of this now. unfortunately. And the pain of this, reaching out and touching them, has made it real. Everyone has a reason to fight. So, you know, I think they've deserved a little bit of fun. And when it's time, they'll do the right things. I believe that. I I will not be partaking in Gadu's ale. I will not be partaking in that. So uh, that's a no go. But thank you. Is there anything else that any of you had thought of? I'm sure you do. Uh, I'm I'm not sure that my constitution could handle it. It's not exactly my forte. It's just so much has happened, and it feels as if lifetimes have passed since they first appeared. Um, and although although all this time has passed, um, they've they've been kind of in this space, it seems, where they really haven't fully had a chance, even though this time has passed, to grow together. And I know that now that they're kind of in it now. They're in Volantia. They're out and doing this. They've seen what's waiting for them. They've seen what's against them. Um, I think that I think that now we're going to see them truly shine, and I'm excited for that to help me. I don't know that you can, um, and I wouldn't worry about me. Helping them is what we're here for. I'll be okay. Me and Pellet are fine. Uh, I get frustrated sometimes because the interference that I get from uh, my divinations is difficult. I don't know if it's the Inquisitions of Pelor with their magical, um, like wards and such that I'm having to fight through, or what. But it's difficult. We'll definitely give Pellet a scritch. He will love that. um, Sorry that he's not here today. I sent him on an errand. He's delivering a message for me to Candlekeep. So unfortunately, he's not here right now. Um, so other than that, um, the uh, the toll that this has taken on Faerun has been massive. As you've already seen, uh, large chunks of Faerun have been moved. Uh, did not think that that was even possible. The spells like that, I didn't think that those could exist. Not since perhaps the days of the Netherese, when Mistral was here. Um, I I didn't know that this was even a possibility. I don't know how this happens. I don't know how a thing can be so powerful that something like this is even an issue that we have to deal with. Um, so finding out, I guess, if it's a singular, and I hope not, that if it's a singular person or a singular entity that's doing this, or if it's perhaps a device, um, or a group of magic users maybe that are pooling their power. I don't know. Um, I am I am definitely not the eighth hero. Uh, I don't believe destiny has called me to that calling. Um, and Sir Thamor, uh, again, I don't fully trust the Inquisition of Pelor, and that includes Sir Thamor. He's proven himself to be an ally thus far, but I believe, and again, this is just me, but I believe that he has ulterior motives. I can't prove it, and I don't have anything that points to that yet, but I do believe he has some sort of ulterior motive, other than uh, what he originally said was, that he gets to live, which obviously everyone is interested in helping the heroes so that they could live. I'm interested in that, obviously. Um, there's something very off about him. Uh, do you feel the same? I I don't know that I feel that there is. I know that obviously this is a very dangerous mission that they're undertaking, and the farther and farther that they follow the path that destiny has laid, the more dangerous that it will grow. And that being so, the greater threats that they will face, and the more likely that they will meet a enemy or a situation that will test them, possibly to an extent that is beyond their skill level, uh, to where they could possibly face a situation where, well, let's not talk about that. But yes, going back to your question, I'm not the eighth hero. I don't think so. Um, the what do you think is going to happen next week when we continue? Does anyone have any thoughts on how the story is going to progress? I have some thoughts, but I'm very interested to hear what you might have. I know that some of the things that I thought, uh, the Blackwoods, yes. I also kind of thought that as well. Um, God, please don't say more ale shenanigans. Please don't say that. Uh, you're probably right, though. I would, I am fairly certain that you are correct. There are going to be lots more ale shenanigans. Um, Yes, I also am not very excited about the Blackwoods. Um, I don't know that the I don't know the going to the Blackwoods. I think is possibly a an issue. I mean, there's a time and a place for everything. Um, Unfortunately, when you're trying to save the world, maybe it's not quite the time and the place. Just saying. No judgment. Just saying. Um, regardless, regardless, like I said, they deserve they deserve some relaxation when they can get it. I just wish it wasn't all the time, you know. Um, yes, the key being at the end of all of this. That would be great. If they could wait until then, that would be amazing. Um, but I think the problem is waiting. I don't think that's exactly uh, their way, so to speak. They don't particularly like to wait for those sorts of things. So patience is not an easy virtue. That is true. But Gadu should know patience because he brews, and brewing is an art that takes a great deal of patience. So he should be well versed in that virtue. If drinking was their only issue, then I could overlook it. But we've had some other things too. Um, Making deals with questionable beings is also an issue. If we're going to be honest here, um, that I'm going to judge for. I'm not going to judge them necessarily for the alcohol consumption, but yeah, making deals with evil beings. Um, that's yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Um, you don't, as someone already said, you don't need my mirror to see that. Um, you can, you pretty much know. That took me by surprise. That that took me by surprise, and I was worried for a minute that this would all come tumbling down. Um, I did not know how they would recover from that. But it is another testament to the fact that these are the heroes that are chosen because they were able to overcome that and continue on. And so I do believe that they are the right ones for this. And despite coming from different backgrounds where they don't have the kind of training, the kind of experience that you might expect, uh, they're rising to the occasion. And I think that's special. I think that's amazing. Um, especially, uh, I mean, especially Dago. I very impressed. Um, very impressed. That is a very difficult question. What do I think the end game for this whole Volantia world is? What is the purpose of taking these places and putting them into this world? That's a very, very difficult question. Um, I don't know. I think by expanding this world, they can take resources that maybe they don't normally have. Just my thought process on it. If you take worlds from others, you obviously built on your own, and increase the diversity of your resources, that could be a thing. It seems that Volantia is built upon mercantile, and Lord Thamor is in charge of the mercantile for the entire world. That's what he said. And that makes me suspicious, because the only thing I can see is that the biggest, I guess, the biggest benefit to all this is being able to have resources that you don't normally have, which would increase your ability to sell things, which would increase your ability to make things, which would increase your ability to make money, which would profit him. But again, like I said, I'm very, very suspicious of him, and I don't know why. I just am. And it may be completely unfounded. It may be completely unfair. It probably is unfair. I have no idea why he bothers me so much, but he does. Yeah, could be just my intuition. But he does bother me. And it'll probably turn out to be nothing, I'm sure. But right now, he does creep me out quite a bit. He's very suspicious, yes. So, can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something very, very wrong there. And the Inquisition of Pelor is entirely too powerful. And they're always in the right place at the right time. And it just seems very, very strange to me. I can't be the only one who thinks that. It is strange that there are quite a few, but again, just because they're powerful doesn't mean that they're brave, or that they're courageous, or that they're selfless enough to undertake a mission like this. It takes a special person, takes a special group to put everything on the line for other people, for people that they don't know, for people that they may never meet, to try to stop something that could potentially cause them to lose everything. And Lord Thamor doesn't really strike me as a man who would be willing to lose everything for someone else. But again, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So, what makes you a hero is not how strong you are. What makes you a hero is your inner fire, your ability to sacrifice for those around. You don't have to be the strongest person. You just have to be the kindest. You have to be the one who cares the most. Time and time again, that's truly what makes a hero. So, strength doesn't matter. Might doesn't matter. Agility doesn't matter. What matters is your character. I suppose with that, I'm going to close this planar window for today. My magic is fading, but it's been good to see you, witnesses. And I hope to see you later. Please take care. Mind the fates. Keep your destinies close. There are plenty of adventures to have if we can simply keep the faith.